Yeah, kill.
Welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 158 for August the 18th, 2018. You can contact us at Cosmicgodsdie at gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter SwineBros666. I am your worse than Hitler, according to some person, host Elliot Lindewood. My co-host is...
I am the Jim. The world needs to burn.
Yes, apologies for the helicopters outside. Apparently there's a small brush fire somewhere because I live in California and there's always a small brush fire somewhere.
Okay. Let's start off the fucking bullshit. With actual bullshit.
Yes, the bullshit mountain.
There's no room in metal for racists, abusers, and bigots. So...
by Kim Kelly.
Yeah, that's completely lacking any, people can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yes.
You don't have to listen to it, and it usually goes deeper underground the fewer people that listen to it. Yes.
Yes, rather than actually trying to
campaign to ban people's ability to do shit, because they'll just go even further underground then the more you ban them.
And even go more extreme.
And before you know it, the Nazis will win. Because you forced them so far underground, no one knew what the fuck they were saying. Well, you didn't know what the fuck they were saying. No one could debate them because no one knew what the fuck they were saying. They got their recruits, and all of a sudden, they just eased their way in. Kind of like McCarthyism, how we banned commies from speaking for a while, and now the commies won't shut up, and they're pretty much in charge of the government.
But I mean, really, if you just let them talk, they're
then they're completely powerless. There's nothing they can do because all we do is point and laugh at them for being idiots.
If they're gonna get a following, they're gonna get a following anyway. Okay, if they get big, you silencing them is only going to enhance the process. Edification.
But anyways, let's see how clueless she is. A meditation on enabling oppression. Okay, so you're silencing voices is the oppression. You don't see how this is going to be played against you. Anyway.
No.
As I lay dying, emperor, and talking, and taking accountability for one's own mistakes. Plus some sweet new metal tunes, which I haven't checked out because...
I mean, as I lay dying, he served jail time, and emperor, they served jail time, and Taki hasn't made any mistakes. I mean, they haven't murdered anyone. I don't think so. Maybe they have.
To be perfectly honest with you all, I personally feel that, as metal fans, the practice of separating the art from the artist is no longer a luxury that we can, in good conscience, afford ourselves.
Why?
See, right there, that is...
When I just... My question about Kim Kelly is when she buys a car, does she ask, are any of these people who built the car, are they Trump supporters? Does anyone work for the organization support Trump or whatever?
Yeah, it's like fucking they had this one manga come out a while ago, or anime, I forget which, where the guy came to this revelation that if you watch the original Japanese shit, the revelation was pretty much in tune with, everyone's got different, ideas and ways they want to go and all this shit. And then whenever they translated it, they removed that scene because their politics disagreed with the great revelation.
Oh, yeah.
So, reality, can't penetrate ideology.
No, and that happens a lot, especially if you dub things in, the English dubs or whatever, they change a lot.
This world has always been ugly and violent and unfair. Yes.
Yes, it has.
Inequality and exploitation has always been rampant. Yes. Marginalized communities have always suffered under the iron fist of those who with unearned privilege and power. Unearned, in a lot of cases I differ with. There's sometimes it is unearned. because they were able to talk people into supporting communism. And then, it wasn't really earned. They just bullshit their way into it.
Oh, and on the other side, you have the
people are being executed because they worship some invisible friend of theirs. They talk to an invisible friend, so it's time to execute them all.
Which I support, not.
And the very land I'm standing on, as I type, this is stolen.
Oh yeah, we sort of just went and fucked shit up.
It depends upon if you know the difference between stolen and conquered. I mean, yeah, sure, you could stand against conquest, but it was pretty much conquered. Stolen would imply that, like, we snuck in and just took it away, then booted them out. No, we went in guns blazing after a while and just said, fuck you.
Yeah, we didn't just...
I mean, it was a scumbag move, but, this is hundreds of years ago.
Yes, it is.
Why try to guilt me for something that I wasn't even alive and all my ancestors weren't even here for?
It's your fault, Jim, for fucking slavery. It's your fault for the Indians dying, and it's your fault that the Normans conquered the Brits in like 1060.
Oh, that's all my fault. Then I might as well just decapitate this bitch because I'm still on the bloodthirsty fucking colonialism genocide there is. I'm gonna fucking just decapitate her. And stained with the blood of colonial genocide. See, she wants me to go completely genocidal on her.
That is a great name for an album, though. Stained with the blood of colonial genocide.
That's more of an album name than a band name. I mean, Colonial Genocide in and of itself is a cool band name. That's cool.
No, I
said Blood of Genocide, or,
I said album name. I said it would make a good album name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These truths remain unchanged no matter who infests the White House. So, Obama infested the White House. You're finally admitting that?
Yes, he did.
Same thing with Clinton and Bush. I mean, they infested it. Every president that I've lived under has infested it. Are you going to actually admit that, or are you going to try to play favorites?
Every president ever has infested it. The only good one is Harrison, who had the good decency to die in a month.
Yeah. See, that's what we call a good politician. I like that whenever they have those politicians that die during the campaign trail and they still get and their corpses get voted in office. That's the best politician ever.
The other one
elected for the position.
The other one was Warren Harding, who was an incredibly sleazy person who would have probably faced impeachment proceedings if he hadn't died on vacation. Oh, I'm going to be impeached. I'll just die.
Or other halls of power. But now, in the age of social media and smartphones and hyperconnectivity, and obviously hypersensitivity,
I don't have a smartphone.
There's no way for us to turn up, drum roll please, blind eye to them.
Oh, blind eye. Well played. God damn
it. We've seen the children in cages. Well, not blindy here. We've seen the bodies of unarmed black men lying in the streets, victims of state-sanctioned murder.
State-sanctioned murder is another good album name.
I like that. Yeah, that's actually a good band name. We're state-sanctioned murder.
Here's your album, Blood of Colonial Genocide. By state-sanctioned murder. I'm making this.
Yes. We've seen the desecrated Jewish cemeteries. Oh, so you're caring about the Jews.
Oh, wait. Desecrated Jewish cemetery. Sounds like a great Nazi black metal album.
Yeah.
Dark Fury's new album, Desecrated Jewish Cemetery.
And defaced mosques. The swastika graffiti. Is it turning to the left or turning to the right?
Defaced
Never draw your swastikas turning to the left, because that's like the Hinduism thing. You always draw it to the right. That's the Nazi thing.
Anti-Islamic black metal. Defaced mosque.
But you're probably a person that doesn't even know the difference and, goes off on the kanji all the time. So fuck you. The KKK marching proudly through the streets of American cities. All 12 of them.
KKK.
All 12 of them. I've seen these protests. It's like 12. Oh, wait. There's 30 at this one.
And the best
And
part
now it's back down to 6.
is the 12 people, 2 are in this branch of the KKK, and they don't like each other. Like you have there is no real KKK in this day and age. There's a group of basically clubs who all think they're the leader of who all think they're the new KKK, and they don't like each other very much. Actually, they don't get along most of the time.
You see, you're making a big fucking mountain out of a molehill, which is exactly how they're going to gain more power, because you're flipping out and trying to push them out. Instead of letting them in and just pointing and laughing at them, because if you point and laugh at them, they're not going to get anywhere.
Well, that's why I understand.
Take them as the ultimate evil, must be shunned at all. Then, yeah, of course they're going to gain power.
I understand sort of tired of this shit, but we have to. I mean, Kim Kelly basically provides her and Mr. Shane Mathis, who's currently trying to shade me on Twitter. Hello, Shane. They basically write copy for this show. If I ever get famous, I'll give them a check for basically propping this show up. See, guys, if you want me to go away, just shut up. If you want Swine Brothers to go away, then stop talking.
I've seen a lot of people musing about what they would have done back in 1933 when they started burning books. Oh, like the book burnings of all the cis het white straight male. I've seen those book burnings. Tell me more how the commie way is so much different than the Nazi way. Both a sack of shit, in my opinion, both worthy of mocking. But hey, just keep going. And seizing passports. Oh God, they banned the most pitiful Republican and name only types who are more left leaning than the rest of the fucking Republican Party. They banned them just because they have an R beside their name from going places, and you're gonna bitch about seizing passports, which hasn't even been done. And the brown shirts came. Yeah, just like your Antifa fucking face mask wearing pieces of shit came.
Yeah.
Your point here, tell me where the equivalency is not. You're both sacks of shit. Now is your chance to answer that question for yourself. They're both piling turds. It's just the fact that we shamed the the commies for so long, they're now kind of in seats of power that we have to fucking banish them. And if we would have just let them talk instead of invoking McCarthyism back in the day, they would probably have been laughed out of existence, just like the Nazis were laughed out of existence.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
But now you're the ones bringing Nazism back in a big way. Good job.
Yep. And I personally just want to watch the chaos.
Is buying a bigot or an abuser's new album going to see them play a show the same as participating in wide-scale ethnic cleansing?
I can answer that in one word. No. It isn't.
Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. However, it is tacitly or explicitly supporting the violent ideologies they espouse in 4 simultaneous days in one single Earth rotation.
Wait a minute. Let's stop here. So if I buy Mortification's first or second album, which are great death metal albums, everything after that sucks, does that mean I'm supporting Christianity? If I buy fucking
yeah, if I buy Megadeth's fucking Rust in Peace or Peace Cells or
supporting
my business, that means I'm supporting born again Christianity because of what they've turned into.
That is incredibly stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I bought the first Living Sacrifice album, and therefore I support Christianity. Oh, okay.
Also, what happens if people change their minds, as we've gone over many a times here? They said something, either to be cool, edgy, or maybe they even believed it back in the day. And it's like, you know what? That's not me anymore.
But they're teenagers. I mean, that's the thing that
20 years later, it's like we have to shame them for something they did when they were idiotic kids.
the Demo Borgir thing where they said some racist things. They were like 14 years old. Give a 14-year-old a microphone, and not very many intelligent things are going to come out of his mouth.
Exactly. They're sporting violent ideologies they espouse, materially or otherwise, a dangerous, inhumane, shameful thing. Is it? Yes.
Okay, so I'm listening to Scattered Remains, Splattered Brains by Cannibal Corpse. That's what's playing right now in the background. No one can hear it but me. Does that mean I support murder? If Cannibal Corpse are singing it, does that mean I support murder? I support splat. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, most people listening to Cannibal Corpse don't support murder.
The band doesn't even
The fact that we're oddities is like a completely different story because we're just scum.
And we are oddities.
And we're fine with being rejected by society. It lets us form our own little cliques, and it's great.
I mean, for a while, I thought that all metalheads were as depraved as I am, and then I learned the hard way that they weren't. I was like, okay, I'm an oddity, whatever. I mean, I think it's awesome. Gacy liked the band Acid Bath. He liked them. They sent him a demo, and he loved the band so much that he gave them a painting for their first album.
Does purposefully ignoring or waving away the import of politics and art make you a coward? Also, yes. Actually, no. It makes you more of a coward to sit there and try to get on a high horse trying to push shit out instead of looking at it, debating the ideas. You're pushing it out without debating the actual ideas. You're not even going point for point. You're not even going broad brushstrokes. You're just saying, look, I know this is bad, so I have to shame it.
Yeah.
You're not explaining why it's bad.
Nope. No explanation needed. No explanation needed, according to them, at least.
You just figure throwing around a word like genocide, that's automatically bad. Well, what about the people that don't think it is?
There are people who think that it was manifest destiny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I disagree, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a fucking idiotic idea brought about by, I can go somewhere, therefore it is mine.
Therefore, I'm superior.
Mm-hmm.
And these Indians who great, I mean, if I marvel at everything that they were able to actually do, without any sort of technology.
No, they had their own tech. It just was
but
lower grade than what the hell. We had the firearms and shit.
Yeah, but they did a lot without firearms.
Mm-hmm. And their ways of warfare we had to study.
Well, their ways of warfare were in some ways more brutal than us.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it depended on tribe, but some tribes didn't buy the whole honorable bullshit. Some tribes thought that best way to wage war is the time honored practice: slaughter them all.
Slaughter them all, rape the women, enslave the children.
Yeah, I mean,
literally. Yeah, fucking natives enslaved and shit. But at the same time, it's the pot calling the kettle black.
That is the funny
it's
thing.
happened all around. It's
a
a societal fucking norm that this shit happened.
There's a myth surrounding the Indians. The noble savage myth. But I mean, yes, some were noble and some were incredibly brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Just
like you have your white societies that were both noble and brutal, and sometimes they mixed the two, and sometimes they just went, "Oh my God, you're eating people."
My God, you're eating people. I don't want any part of the. Ooh, that looks good.
Mm-hmm. So are we gonna, back talk the fucking Mongols and shit?
Yes. Fuck you, Genghis Khan.
Who was probably a better fucking emperor than anyone ever. But anyway.
Yes. Sorry, I had to get some liquids in me.
Uh-huh. Now is not the time to hand out Paul passes because of fucking riffs. Really? Please, continue on your moralistic rampage reminiscent of the Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, wait.
Tell me more of the one true way.
I mean, okay, I'll grant you, most NSBM sucks. Most of it's bedroom level, shitty one-man bands that have idiotic lyrics about how Hitler was right because you got your toe stepped on by a Jew. Some of them, I can't really think of any NSBM, and Burzum is not NSBM because he doesn't talk about it in his music, but I never really heard any NSBM that's, I would say, essential. But there is one NS band, unknown, a very known NS band, I would consider essential listening. BFG.
Yeah, Bound for Glory is pretty damn good.
I like Screwdriver. I can live without Screwdriver. Maybe not Voice of Britain. That's a great song. I can live without Dark Fury and Der Stürmer. I mean, they're fun songs, but it's just they haven't really done anything essential in my opinion. They're good, but Bound for Glory. If you told me I had to live without Ironborn, I would murder you. Ironborn.
Shit.
Bloodborne.
That being said, you could probably guess my opinion on Christian, or should that be formerly Christian, metalcore band As I Lay Dying's decision to welcome their former vocalist, Tim Lambesis, back into the fold following his release from a truncated prison term.
I hate to get pedantic here. No, I don't. I'm lying. But Tim's gone back and forth on the Christian thing. He said he was an atheist. Now he says he's a Christian again, and I don't know. I hope he restarts Perithian, by the way, which is actually the only good band he ever did. If you can actually stomach the metalcore vocals, Jim, it's decent sort of death-like metal. I won't say death metal, but death-like metal.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you and see what you say.
Lambesis was arrested in 2013 after attempting to hire an undercover police officer to murder his estranged wife, Megan Murphy. Lambesis. Huh?
Which was retarded. I mean, most people double, triple, quadruple check to make sure they're not undercover.
No. We're talking fucking people that got money. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, yeah.
Okay, people that got money and were never part of the criminal underworld to begin with.
People who have money and who were whacked out of their brains on steroids, which apparently did happen. Apparently, he's actually developed breasts, which we had to develop breasts the hard way.
Yeah, I got fat. Anyway. He pleaded guilty in 2014 and was sentenced to serve 6 years in prison. Okay, so he served his sentence. So what? He was released on parole in 2016 and is featured on the new As I Lay Dying single, My Own Grave.
Which is okay. I mean, I'll say this, and I don't really care what Jim thinks, because As I Lay Dying is probably the best of the metalcore bands. By that, I mean they're somewhat listenable. I mean, it's still mostly putrid, but they get away with it sort of because they're more melodic death with some core. But yeah, I'd say they're the best metalcore band I've ever heard. Still wouldn't consider them in the top 5 million bands, though.
The band has since released a half-hour-long video explaining their decision to reunite with Lambesis, wherein they all discussed how they got to this point. At one point, As I Lay Dying guitarist Nick Hippa said, "What he did was very public, and it certainly can never be forgotten, and it shouldn't. That's part of what he has to endure for the rest of his life. When I saw who he was and who he had genuinely become, I let go of that." Well, if he's actually remorseful, then fuck.
Remorseful? Then, I mean, really, if he's remorseful and he's, I have to live with that the rest of my life, what should we? Okay, off topic here. There's a guy, 20-year-old Santino Ferrucci, a racing driver who has done some really stupid things in racing, wrecking his teammate on the cooldown lap and generally being a complete cock. He's been fired from his team. Now, he has been picked up for 2 races in the IndyCar series later this month, and people saying that what he did at earlier in the year was bad enough that he should be banned for life from the sport. He's 20 years old. Okay, people should be allowed to make mistakes and attempt to atone for them. You know,
Yeah.
this,
Fuck, we got fucking, a lot of left leaners have come out and said rehab for people in prison is a thing. So, you go out of your way. There's kids out there that fucking murdered a toddler. They shoved batteries up his ass and threw him on train tracks dead.
This gun isn't loaded.
No, I'm talking about something that actually happened. These kids brutally murdered this fucking 3-year-old.
Yeah.
They went to juvenile hall, and upon release, they were given completely new identities, so that way they wouldn't have to live with the shame. This is rehabilitation.
Well, they still have to think
Atonement
about
for
it.
the sin. Okay. Is this how far you're going? Are you going to say that they deserve to be hunted down and murdered, even though you fought for the laws that got them the fucking new identities after a certain
they
age?
still have to. I mean, living with that your entire life is something that I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
when you're a kid, you're stupid. Because I know kids who have killed their own siblings because this gun isn't loaded here. Oh God, the brutal murder. I'll have to look into that more. That's incredibly brutal. But
Yeah, it was brutal, and like the kids got out of jail. I mean, out of juvenile, and were given brand new identities, and no one knows who the fuck they are now.
well, what about
But if
Faust?
they fuck up again, they're going back for a long haul.
Well,
Even
what
with
about Faust from Emperor here? Who they're going to mention? I haven't actually read, but they did mention Emperor. What about Faust from Emperor, who did something? He killed a guy in '92 because he was bored and because reasons. He served his jail time and has not committed, I don't believe, any sort of serious crime. He's making music that he loves with his band Blood Tsunami, which talks a lot about serial killers, which is hilarious. But so he did something wrong. He has expressed remorse for it. I mean, well, people don't cry. Do you expect people to cry and go, I shouldn't have done that? Sometimes all you're going to get out of people is, yeah, that was bad and I shouldn't have done that. I'm not a crier. I will admit things I shouldn't have done, but I'm not going to start crying. Jim is a cry. He cries all the time.
Yeah, I do cry, and half the time it's crocodile tears just to get me out of trouble. I didn't
Oh yeah,
mean to stab him 300 times. He tried assaulting me.
I've done that. I mean, fuck. I'm just an innocent kid. Just don't. Okay, kid, you're out. And Johnny Pete's like, you motherfucker, I can kill you.
Mm-hmm. They discuss Lambesis' court trial and prison sentence, but there's no mention of what he doing serving time for, or of his ex-wife, or of his 3 children.
Well, everyone knows. Everyone knows about that. Okay, this is incredibly public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all you have to do is look up his name and trial in Google or Bing or whatever. Fuck, that hurt. Sorry. Whatever search engine is of your choice, and you will find a fuckload of information about it.
While there has been a predictable outcry against this turn of events, there has been also a distressingly robust positive reaction from As I Lay Dying fans who are happy to have Lambesis back in the band. To which I say, fine, enjoy your shitty music.
Enjoy it. Well, like I said, I take them over just about any metalcore band. Not that I would take metalcore. I'm just saying, if I have to, and I do have to actually. Jim never turned listening to music into an occupation, which you have done because we will be reviewing records. Enjoy your music, and he's admitted he doesn't. I mean, he didn't actually do anything.
Oh, she's still alive.
She's still alive. He's remarried, which is sort of weird. I'm not sure I would get in with that if I'm honest.
Yeah.
You tried to hire a hitman to kill your ex, and now you want to. Okay, like, what's gonna stop me from ending up the same way?
Scrolling through the band's Twitter mentions surfaces a seemingly endless parade of well-wishers, some even invoking Jesus Christ in their public forgiveness of Lambesis. Wow, Christians, these
Christian's actually acting
extremely
Christian.
these extremely dogmatic Christians you love to bash for being so bigoted and narrow-minded in their bashing of other religions are actually forgiving someone, and you cannot.
Yes. Whereas I'm ambivalent, to be honest. I mean, I think he should be allowed to do what he does, and if he fucks up again, yeah, throw the book at him.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think he should be allowed. He's lost some years. He's no matter what he does, his reputation will. No matter how much he does good in this world, and no matter how much music he makes, his reputation will still be the guy who attempted to kill his
So
wife.
you're saying that we should never forgive Sarah Silverman for making pedophile jokes
Well,
many
actually,
years ago on our
that's
fucking Twitter
exactly
feed?
what she's saying, though.
Yeah, she's exactly saying that we should never forgive her. So good job banning Sarah Silverman. Enjoy.
Yes, and we should never forgive James Gunn for making joke. I should never forgive him for making Guardians of the Galaxy, only because in 2014 I had to listen to that fucking soundtrack over and over again. He deserves to be lynched for that. But for a couple jokes, I mean, I just I don't get the world.
After I tweeted about it, one person in my mentions asked, what else is a 37-year-old going to do? His bandmates threw him under the bus and started a new band, Woven War. So I see more of an issue with the lack of integrity from those guys.
Well, he was yeah. They were going. There were rumors that they were going to practice or that they were going to start a new band or they were going to get a new singer. There were rumors that Tim was going to get. I only know this because I have to follow metal trends and shit for other projects. The rumor mill's flying back and forth that either they were going to replace him, start a new band, or that he was going to replace them and continue on with the band, which would have been a shit sandwich in itself.
Which makes sense only if one accepts the premise that rock star is the only avenue of employment available to an able bodied, straight, white, barely middle aged cis man in America.
Oh my god! I mean, okay, here's something that I personally have a thing with. Okay, Vince Neil is the drummer, I think, or the singer, or the for Motley Crue. I don't remember what instrument he plays because I don't like Motley Crue. He has a documented drunk driving record and killed someone, killed the drummer for some Finnish glam band in a drunk driving accident. He later became a success or a well, not successful. I'm lying. A mediocre car racer in the Indy Lights series. All I'd say is, okay, let him race. Um, but make sure you test his blood alcohol level before he gets in the car every time because he drank a lot back then. That's the only thing I'd say. Let him race, let him motor around the back of the pack, but for God's sake, make sure he's sober.
See, I just love the casting of all these labels here. It just reminds me of that argument we had the other day. Well, you had. I made one comment, and the guy just went on this giant tirade, and how I'm neurotypical. The guy that's been in a mental institution as a child, been in a partial program
Yeah.
because nutter, straitjacket. Yeah, I'm neurotypical.
Hey,
I met my ex-wife in a mental institution.
I needed therapy because I was kind of sad and I needed to laugh. So I need some therapy. That's why I kept the conversation going. It's like I need to laugh at someone pathetic. Well, yes, he says that no matter what you do, if you go to a mental institution, you're still a neurotypical because he's neurodivergent and therefore can't tell a joke from Sirius.
Yeah, and you realize how many years of counseling and therapy and drugs it took me to do that?
And
Oh
therefore,
God, I still have problems doing it.
and therefore can't tell a clearly joke article, which I jokingly said I agree with just to wind him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. And now I just love how you're ableist. The blind kid
Oh
is
yes, I'm
ableist.
ableist. I'm
The guy whose dream as a child was to become a race car driver.
yes,
You can't do it though. You're blind. There's no fucking possible way you will ever achieve that because you are. How to put this mildly? You're fucking disabled,
but
but you're ableist.
apparently he said that wasn't I'm not an ableist. That was just an ableist sentiment. Apparently he thinks wow, he actually said something. There's a difference between an ableist sentiment and being ableist.
Yeah, now you could just sit there and get out of your bubble for a minute and stop casting these things about.
Yes.
And yes, albeit won't an incarceration record, which usually means fast food, factory work, shit like that. But he has a quick way out. Some friends willing to back him. Let him take it. His music sucks, but I don't give a shit.
Yes.
He can make money at it, let him make money at it. I'll shit on him all the while, though.
Yes, as you should.
But I'm shitting on his musical talent, not this shit. This shit's like, oh, well, people fuck up all the time. Sometimes they're remorseful, other times they're G.G. Allen. And they just go 10 times as psycho when they go out.
Yes.
And that makes them even better then. But we're scum. We think like this. Most people don't. To be clear, said record is a very real barrier to entry for many formerly incarcerated people seeking employment, especially those who are Black or Latino men.
Yes.
Uh,
Ridiculous.
or white on top of that, because of God.
White.
Hell, the rumor of me being a satanic baby killer in my hometown of Jeanette has made it so that I can never get a job within those city walls.
It is still active.
I had, I mean, granted, I cried for a while about it until I realized, oh yeah, the town of Greensburg right next door has never heard of me. I can get a job there.
Is that rumor still active though?
Yes, it actually is.
So, if I were to go to Pennsylvania, right, tomorrow, take a couple cameras with me, and walk the streets of Jeanette. Hey, have you guys heard of Jim?
The satanic baby killer? Oh yeah.
That's gonna be a video.
And is yet another brutal symptom of our brutal carceral state.
Because we forgive people.
And we even let the Black and Latino men out of prison. And they get second chances
Everyone,
after actually doing murder and other shit.
murder's fun.
You know, not the attempted hiring of someone. No, literal, like they have the DNA and
I love that he was too much of a pussy.
proving it, and
Actually,
he still got out. In fact, didn't we have a case not so long ago where they let a couple guys out on probation after they did some really horrible shit?
yeah. I mean, it happens.
And they were like Muslim and all that, and everyone's celebrating. So it's like, yeah, but these were a couple of the bad ones, and you're celebrating whatever. I don't care
I
anymore.
mean, granted, the prison system is fucked. I've heard my fair share of horror stories from people known and unknown to me working in the prison system, and there needs to be a lot of reform. But still,
Yeah, because you got your people that fucking fuck up and have the book thrown at them whenever they can fucking reintegrate. Then you got other people that keep getting released and doing shit to get back in because they prefer it inside.
well, yeah, I talked to Puke had to spend, I think it was 30 days for some sort of drug violation, which he said make them the lowest of the low. And his cellmate was, he goes, yeah, I go in and out of immediately, and he didn't want to kill anyone because he didn't want to go to maximum security or anything. But he would get released and then do another crime and get sent back to a medium security prison because he liked
The structure, the 3 meals, the health care, all the benefits you get out of fucking going to prison.
I mean, why do you think people in New York, like homeless people, why do you think they check into rehab every winter? It's warm, you get fed, and all you have to do is pretend you're, you know, hooked on drugs.
Or maybe actually you are hooked on drugs.
Maybe, well, yeah, but I know people who actually haven't been but they said it's sort of a balancing act because if you have like if you say you have not enough of a problem, they send you out. If you say you have too much of a problem, then you go to a really extreme treatment. So you have to basically just toe the line basically. But you get food, you get cheese, lots of cheese.
See, there's one person I knew that used to say, "Yeah, I'd go into the fucking hospital and say I'm just counting the dots."
Yeah,
Or have a friend take her in, and she'd be like, "I'm just counting the dots," and that's how she got a warm place to stay whenever she was transient.
yeah. I mean that's
Because they thought she was either on drugs or psycho, so put her in the loony bin.
yeah.
Gave her a couple months of inpatient, and she had meals and shit, and then they'd let her out, and she'd be, out and sleep under bridges again.
And then
Usually the people you meet whenever you go homeless, by the way.
oh yeah, well I told you about the guys who were lucky enough to be homeless near a boardwalk, and
Oh
they
yeah.
and well it was in winter because you couldn't do this during the summer because it's always very crowded or whatever, but during the winter they would take sections out of the boardwalk for firewood, and the funny thing is you can't see the next day people rebuilding the section, so you have to go somewhere else, to another section, and the construction, why the hell do these sections keep disappearing?
Hey, when you're cold, you got to get some firewood going. Who cares if it smells like piss? You're homeless.
He smelled like a dumpster fire. It was great, but we had to finally puke took him home to give him a bath because okay, I could smell you from 20 feet away.
Yeah. But this shit happens.
Yeah, it happens, and that's where you get good stories from.
Labesis would probably have trouble finding a white collar gig at this point and may need to find what's known as a transition job, recommended by his parole officer for a while.
Well, yeah, but okay, why not just do what your heart says, which is make more music? It's
Yeah, make more shitty music. That's fine. People like it, whatever. Don't care.
I'm just saying, I just, I, people.
Nah. Another commenter noted that Lambesis will need some financial means to generate income in order to survive and pay his child support, which is wholly reasonable. However, I am not convinced that this means he is entitled to re-enter a career as a touring and recording artist.
Why not? I mean, recording artists, they do it because they want to do it. They don't do it for you.
Uh-huh. If they were doing it for me, he would have quit years ago.
Yeah. You even agree with that, and I even marginally complimented his bullshit.
Complete with fawning fan base, or that his bandmates are not wholly complicit in the propagation of these things. His bandmates are responsible for his actions.
In order to record music, in order to sit down and do what you want to do artistically for life, you have to have a clean slate. Wait, we're talking about the metal scene of that had the metal scene of the 80s? Do I even need to tell you what happened in the 80s? No, you've read the stories. It's people go to people get into music because they don't want to be clean and proper. People go to
As an abolitionist.
Abolitionist? Oh,
What are you trying to abolish?
I guess inequality. I'm guessing here.
You abolish inequality by creating more inequality. Good job.
Abolition.
Or are you trying to abolish all the negative effects in music, which was the PMRC?
Well, let's read on and see what she has to say as an abolitionist.
Okay, Miss PMRC says, I don't think that the prison is the answer to the question of justice. No human being belongs in a cage. So you want them executed?
Yeah, but what the? Wait, so you want to execute them rather than this is what happens if you fuck up. You gotta. Whoa! We're going in straight into like Nazi. You would be executed for everything.
Yep. Especially not the innocent brown children currently imprisoned by the American government in literal concentration camps on the U.S. border.
You got that out of Tim Lambesis? Oh my god!
This is a fucking stretch.
No. I'm sorry. I completely disagree. This is not a stretch. This is fucking an end around fucking yo-yo trick alternate universe. This is not a stretch here. This is far from a stretch. This is pulling things from another dimension in real and coming up with 2 + 2 = goat.
Well, that's Common Core math, but still.
I'm just saying, this is not a stretch. This is fucking going it. You somehow got the immigration shit from Tim Lambesis.
The goal should be rehabilitation and healing through restorative justice. Wouldn't you putting
How
a
would
lot
you?
of money that you make from singing shitty songs that people seem to like, wouldn't putting that money towards child support, paying your fines and shit like that be a form of rehabilitation and healing through restorative justice?
I'm
That he's
interested
been
to see what.
restored to his former place and therefore, he's repaying
Actually,
society.
I have a great idea. I have a great idea for restorative justice.
Mm.
Seriously, this is not me making a joke. Instead of going to prison for 6 years, make him go homeless for 6 years. Make him basically on the street. He can't. You can't.
That's pretty much what she's suggesting here.
I mean, think about it. He learn some lessons or develop a crack habit.
Crack. Maybe his music would be good then.
No.
And
He ruined the cover of Judas Priest by screaming over it.
And what troubles me is that about Lambesis's case is that there seems to be no real evidence of either. Just like every other case, there's no real evidence of it. Can I see personal transformation just by listening to other people's words? No, it's got to be done through actions.
Yes,
so what's he gonna fucking do from here on out?
And mental reflection, because you have plenty of time in prison to sort of mentally reflect about what you did. I mean, the guy was telling me about his experiences in like it's somewhere between juvenile hall and prison, right? It's the people who fucked up too many times to go to juvenile hall, maybe a little too old, and maybe fucked up a few too many times, but aren't old enough to go to prison, right? So it's sort of like a max juvenile hall, and they would act really tough during the daytime. And these are people who've stolen, some people have murdered, and at night all you'd hear is kids crying because at night the tough talk goes out the window and you realize what you've just done with your life. You realize what you've done to someone else's life. You realize, so yeah, it's, I mean, there's plenty of time for self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And no one ever said anything.
And keep in mind, we're two ex-criminals here. We did some pretty fucked up shit years ago, and the only reason we're not saying ex-con is because, well, we weren't busted for it.
I would like to point out that I was not found guilty, so therefore I didn't do it.
There we go.
Yes, and sometimes I, think about.
So if you step out your ivory tower for 1 fucking second, which you're not going to do because you got too much money in order to ever step outside of it.
But I'm sure you've
I don't care if you're only making 25 grand. That's twice what I make in a year.
But I'm sure you've thought sometimes about some of the things you did and were like, wow, I sort of wish I hadn't done that.
Oh, yeah, but I learned the lessons the hard way. That's part of growing up. You fuck up, you realize you fucked up, you don't fuck up, and you take measures to not fuck up again.
And then you go on Swine Brothers, so which means you haven't learned your lesson.
I learned my lesson. I can talk about shit all I want. I just can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't invoke other people to do it, even though I'd like to, but I can't do that either. So, I learned my lesson.
Life is silly.
I just, maintained a certain, I don't know, disgusted people who are Richie Riches. And making 25K a year is Richie Rich, in my opinion, because that's double what I've ever made in my entire life. So if you even make more than that, then dear God, are you filthy, stinking rich? I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with 30K a year. I would not.
If you came to California, you'd know exactly what to do with 30.
Oh, that's California.
Yeah, if you come to California, you'll say, wait, 30K, and I'm actually
In California, I'd live pretty much the same life I do now with 30K. But
a little bit less actually. You might not have internet.
oh well. Not like I've lived with internet my entire life,
Yeah, well, I'm just saying yeah. Hey, I need internet. That's how I actually make money. It's sad, I know.
The recently remarried vocalist's image may eventually be rehabilitated in the eyes of his fans in certain sectors of the music industry, but at what cost?
I don't think so. I mean, he'll always be the guy who did something stupid.
And people will be bringing this up years from now, just as they brought up Sarah Silverman.
Or Vince Neil killing someone in drunk driving accident, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buckle up, buckaroo.
Buckle. Maybe you shouldn't have had that last drink.
Look, this is a thorny, complex situation to phrase. You're making it so because you want to bash him, but at the same time, you can't sell out your principles of all these people unjustly imprisoned, even though you want this one guy imprisoned.
Or murdered, or tortured, or
left to rot in the streets.
Which would be funny.
Yeah, it's funny to us, but it's not what you would. Here we go with the double think. It's great.
Oh, I love double think.
And I certainly don't have the answers, but this doesn't seem like the right path for the band to have taken. Even if it's the Christian to turn the other cheek. It's wild how one can cherry pick whichever bits of Christianity one likes to justify the most inhumane actions, huh?
See, usually if I'm going to criticize someone, I'll first come up with an answer to what they should be doing. Like, I very rarely say, well, Jim, you're not doing this right, and go, I don't know what you should be doing right. Or I can think of 5 or 6 different things you should be doing right, but I'm not just gonna, I don't know what you should be doing right, but I'm just gonna criticize you for doing it wrong. It's a little.
I just like how she has to throw in that jab at Christianity to try to make it sound like she's got metal cred.
Yes. I ain't a Christian. Look at me.
I reached out to the band's most recent label, Metal Blade Records, requesting clarity on their role in the band's return, but they declined to comment because you're a bitch.
Yeah, right. Kim Kelly. I'm really surprised that Ryan from Intestinal Disgorge has got an interview, a positive interview from Kim Kelly, because Intestinal Disgorge is a joke band, or whatever you want to parody, but it's known for its very, 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 anti-female orchestra and things like that. I'm surprised Kim Kelly could actually take a joke.
Yeah.
I want to get Ryan back just so I can ask him about that. Which we need to get a great interview.
Yeah. So for now, the mystery continues. What's going to happen to ISILA dying now? Should we care? Well, I never cared to begin with, and you're making a big deal out of it, so obviously you do.
Yeah. I'll probably have to review the album, Joy of Joys.
What happens if they tour or record a new album?
Which I thought they were recording a new album. That's why the single is out.
Is the metal press going to cover it? Well, Guess what? Metal Press doesn't cover half the bands
Yeah, but
I
metal.
fucking listen to. We got fucking Ye Goat Hurt God's radio play. Fuck you. Especially the blind kid here. He worked the most for it.
Oh yeah, I did get them. It took me a couple of weeks, but I got them radio play on Black Knight Meditations because no one else was talking about them. But Metal Sucks says they won't record do. Yeah, Metal Sucks says they won't cover it anymore. Okay, apparently they don't have a new album scheduled. But anyway, yeah, Metal Sucks says they won't cover them anymore. So.
Yay, look at all the virtue signaling, and it's going to totally backfire on you. Just wait to see how much this backfires on you, not covering it.
Well, yeah, because they're a huge band. They're a Metal Blade. I mean, whether you like them or not, they're a huge band. They're on Metal Blade. They have. I'm not sure how popular Core is anymore, but they're still a huge band. They enter the Billboard chart.
Is he getting a pass because his crime was directed at a woman?
What the?
How? How can you even go down this road? It was directed towards a human being, and because it was a woman, they probably had his fucking charges jacked up some. That's how the justice system works, or do you not pay attention?
Oh
my. Or because metalcore as a genre is seen as passe and stale.
Well, yes, it is.
It is. Instead of edgy and dangerous like certain other genres. I prefer dangerous over edgy.
Yeah, what is edgy? I don't even know anymore.
Or because his band was so seminal for so many millennial metalheads. Are you fucking making fun of your own generation? That'd be great. Frustratingly enough, only time will answer these questions. And I'm mad impatient on a good day, so I hope time gets its ass in gear. Oh, God, let's see how further you go down the backfire trail.
Welcome to hell.
It would be silly for me to write all this out acknowledging metal's long history of creating space and supporting the actions of bigots, abusers, and other scum.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Here we go.
You mentioned me in this article. I'm other scum. Some of our most cherished folk tales center on violence and hate, and many rotten people have made indelible marks on the genre, from Varg Vikernes, everyone's favorite kicking dog that we always kick every time that we have to talk about anything which we don't have to talk about, to that racist ding-dong from Malevolent Creation.
Which is weird because he's donated to like Metalheads Against Racial Prejudice, so that's sort of weird. But okay, whatever. And yeah, Bitcoin is that they will find a way to in.
They got to put them in all the time, so it's always front and center. And then whenever the fucking politicians of your stripe decide to say, let's ban metal because it's problematic, you're going to sit there and have to debate with yourself. Because this is what you're doing. You're just prepping it up so that the politicians you currently agree with are going to say metal's problematic and try to ban it.
Yep. Sorry, I'm eating food.
Mm-hmm.
You hear,
that's all this useless virtue signaling's doing.
Yeah, why? Yeah, and then I didn't want to ban metal. Too late.
Mm-hmm. For black metal fans, this is a particularly acute issue, as some of our most lionized figures are fucking terrible people, or at very least, people who have done fucking terrible things.
Yeah, like Vince Neil from Motley Crue, Gene Simmons from Kiss. Fucking.
You're expecting saints.
You're expecting saints and metal.
People that sing about worshiping Satan, you're expecting saints.
Well, yeah, and it's an alternative counterculture genre.
Uh-huh.
In its extreme. I mean, you're expecting choir boys.
Yes. Enjoy how you crashed bird here. This is something I've dealt with personally for years now as my politics have evolved and I'm working to figure out my view on the world. Oh, I'm going to sit here and wait and see if it actually evolves or if it stays the same and stale constant. It always has.
It actually has evolved because she used to not care about these things. She used to actually be a pretty good journalist.
Uh-huh. I've certainly made mistakes. Well, then why are you judging other people by theirs?
Yes, why are you going full on fucking Mary Sue on us?
Why are you going Westboro Baptist Church? But now I've cut out basically every artist whose politics or actions I no longer feel comfortable supporting in my own life.
Wow.
So you listen to 3 bands.
You know what? I'm going to cut out everyone whose views I disagree with. I'm going to listen to nothing but dissection in the future. Oh, no, even then, I don't agree with John's political views, so I can't listen to music at all, ever.
Yeah. But even as recently as 2017, when I traveled to Norway to interview emperors Isan, I wrestled with the clash between my deep love for their music and my acknowledgement of the band's tainted legacy. Why?
Why? I mean,
You're not them, and things happened, and if people change, they change. If not, then, uh, really, God. The ghost of Magne Anderson, the gay man who was stabbed to death in 1992 by Bard Faust Ethan, Ishar's the former bandmate and emperor, haunted my writing process, and I nearly gave up on it altogether. Really? Are you still there? I do not hear you at all.
yeah, yes, I'm here. I had to turn my microphone off.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I can still hear you. Yeah, I mean, also former bandmate. I don't think he's done anything. He's played live with them, but I don't think he's recorded with them. And he's still with them.
It was hard. I first interviewed Hassan back when I was in college and remembered him being an exceedingly gracious, thoughtful interview. So when the opportunity came to sit down with him in person and discuss one of my favorite albums, I jumped at the chance almost unthinkingly.
I mean, Isan is someone who has gone on record as changing a great deal, actually.
What was that?
Isan is someone who's gone on record for change as someone who's actually changed a great deal from his theistic Satanism to a much more, weird and he's changed a lot over the past 20-something years. So why can't other people? Weird.
Yeah. Once I got to Norway on the day before I was due to sit down with Hassan, I spoke with a few queer metalheads who had reached out after seeing me mention the upcoming interview on Twitter. Okay, they told me that they were disappointed in me.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So you're going by the judgments of others. Good job.
Yes.
In metal, which you're supposed to not care about that.
Yeah. Or you're a lone wolf.
And that, as someone who is concerned with justice in the metal community, I needed to do better. Yeah, they're using the same tactics you're using here, trying to shame people. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, really.
For, sins that are long forgotten and detached by 3 degrees. What the fuck?
That happened 26 years ago.
And everyone has
I wasn't
changed.
even born then.
See, there you go. No, I was initially defensive. I knew that they were right, and I resolved to do my best to navigate the situation without jeopardizing the work I'd been sent there to do. I'm now deeply conflicted over things that I shouldn't be conflicted over. Because people are associating everything with everything, and now I'm associated with it. Good job. You're getting yourself banned from Noisy. Vice is going to drop you like a fucking cake now that you're admitting to this.
Because
this is going to be brought up again. Well, why the hell did you interview him? Because I was told to get the fuck out of here.
Because you're listening to what people say, and we're disappointed in you. And my response will be, good, you're disappointed in me. I'm not your hero. I'm a guy who talks into a microphone for a living. You could do better than this. Like, John Wayne Gacy.
Good, you're crying. Now think for yourself for once. God. I reached out to some Norwegian friends who knew both Hassan and Faust personally, and over festival beers discussed the nature of evil and Faust's life post-prison, and how Hassan handled the knowledge of the murder, and how some of them still can't look at Faust anymore.
Or they could do what Puke did after his friend came out of prison for murdering someone. Want to go get a Slurpee? I'm serious. That was the want to go get a Slurpee?
Awesome. I weighed the fact that Faust wasn't present on Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk, the classic album that was being played in its entirety that weekend, and the reason for my feature, against the reality that Emperor rehired him once he was released from prison after serving 9 of a 14-year sentence.
Well, yes. He paid his time. He spent 9 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
9 years is quite a while. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot. 9 years is a period of time that it doesn't seem like a lot until you realize how much has changed.
I thought, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I thought about what it would be like to be 17 years old and find out that your friend and bandmate had murdered someone. Would it make sense for you to go to the police or to ignore it and hope it went away?
Would you like to know what I would have done if I was 17? Honestly, ignore it and hope it goes away. Because when you're 17, the police are the enemy, and your friends are people who you laid down your life for.
Aren't you spending like the first part of this article bitching about how evil the police and justice system is? Would you want to go to the people that you just deemed evil just because a friend did some horrible action?
I mean, if your friend killed someone, you don't know what you'd do. Honestly, I mean, I'd say I think I would have done. I don't know what I'd do now because it's something that I've never had to face.
You see, what I think is all funny about this is the fact that she only likes the police when it's convenient for her political agenda.
Well, yeah.
Other than that, it's gotta attack them because everyone else is cool with attacking them, but these people did something evil. They must be punished. But what the fuck? Blah, 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 blah.
The thing is, like I said, if you come to me and said, "Hey, by the way, I killed someone," I don't know what I'd do.
What went through his head the night he found out? Would I have done anything differently?
Went through
You probably would have, because you just go with whatever the fucking crowd says. So yeah, of course you would have turned people in, and you probably would have been excommunicated from your circle of friends and cried yourself into suicide. Good job.
What was going through Faust's head when he finally came out of the daze and went, "Wait, I just killed someone."
Whoops.
What
the fuck?
Whoops. Oh, well, I got a tour to do.
In the end, I wrote the story. I understand why I was criticized for deciding to go ahead with it and take accountability for that. I'm not sure I'd do it again if it was offered now. Pussy.
I mean, really. I mean, but no, nothing about Samoth and his church burnings. It's all about Faust's murder. Nothing about church burnings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, remember, she just, praised Christianity before she bashed it. So, it's all about convenience.
that's the thing. Okay, I don't understand why people get all butthurt about church burnings because I'm a special type of individual. Okay, but I understand people were really, really, really upset. It was like they lost a loved one when their church that they got married in and died in and born in, um, or baptized in, got burned down. That was a major event. That was on par with like killing someone if you think about it, because the people developed a really spiritual connection with the.
And a murderer, well, there's only so many people that could be connected to that one person, whereas a church is a community building. There are a lot more people connected to that with a lot more memories, a lot more passion for its standing.
Whereas this guy, here's how popular he was. The murder wasn't solved until a year later
Uh-huh.
because he was just some guy that died. He was, you know,
But these are the difficult decisions we must make and mistakes we must confront if we truly want anything to change.
But what if I want to change the fact that I need a coffee machine in here?
We all fuck up sometimes, just like these other people fucked up, and they have been remorseful for that.
Yes. Even if the remorse is, I shouldn't have done that. Sometimes that's all you're going to get out of people.
Mm-hmm. So you're allowed to fuck up, but they're not.
Yes.
Because you're special and no one else is as special as you.
Yeah.
You are the best. This is a truly Richie Rich way of thinking. You're so far removed from anything reality based. This is the most important thing. The most important thing is how we clean up the mess afterwards. Oh, really?
And you clean up the mess afterwards is, look, I did something horrible. I regret it. I just want to move on and continue with doing my show, my tour, recording. It gives me closure. I mean, really, for a lot of people, that's all they want.
Uh-huh.
What about people who come back from the war who have done truly terrible atrocities? Not just, shooting some guy. People who have done things accidentally, accidentally killed a 14-year-old because he looked sort of German in World War II. There are times where, you know, soldiers have accidentally shot children because they looked sort of German and they were taller.
And then you had like Vietnam where children were being used as fucking human hand grenades. So, you had people shooting children not knowing if they were going to blow up on them or not.
So you come back after that, after doing all these, like I said, not just killing a guy with a gun, but doing some truly horrific things. Or what do you answer to it? Or do you? People just want to forget.
There was once a very highly decorated Vietnam veteran. His name was Bob Ross, and yeah, he's one of the most beloved painters who did all the pretty little trees.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to condemn Bob Ross now because he had to have done some pretty horrific shit to get that highly decorated?
Yeah, right. And what about the people who just don't want to talk about the war? I mean, there are people who come back from wars and literally just don't talk about them. They just continue on with what they're doing. They think that they're not worthy of the recipient, the awards or whatever, because of what they had to do.
Uh-huh.
They just want a peaceful life afterwards.
Yeah, they just want to be left alone, be forgotten, because they just want to forget the shit they did.
And some people come back from war and think, fast cars are fun.
There's no one answer, and even though I know where I stand, it took me a long time to figure that out, and I'm still actively working on it and still dealing with my mistakes.
I know where I stand, and where I stand is I'm a metalhead. First and foremost, I like motorsport and metal. In motorsport, there's a great, you know, motorsport's full of frauds and people who've done some pretty bad things. Mostly in terms of white collar crime because it's a very rich sport. But yet they get into motorsport and part of the people say they shouldn't be. And Scott Tucker was a great example. The other part says just let them race. And later on, Scott Tucker was sentenced to many years in jail, but still.
People fuck up. Can you forgive them? Or are you just going to be that snarky person that has to, in one breath, say, we should be nice and let these people off the hook, then in the next, but these people have to burn. And then you have to go through this huge line of doublethink, writing a giant article because you can't put it all together because you want different outcomes for different people instead of applying it equally across the board.
I mean, I want different outcomes for different people, as in, if you're cool, you get off, and if you're not cool, you die. But I'm not pretending to be Miss Moral High Ground or Mr. Moral High Ground here. I'm scum.
Yeah, we're complete fucking scum, so we're not going to sit here saying I am the one true way.
Well, I'll say
even though I create my own religion.
No, I'm the one true way. Embrace all its contradictions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do this, but not do that until you do that, which is the opposite of this.
No. And then they go insane and just start murdering, and we point and laugh.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty much. And then you will steal the identity of people you murder if you think they're cool.
After you consume them, making their flesh one with your own. It comes down to personal responsibility and your own politics and your own level of willingness to engage with and interrogate and sometimes abandon the things you love in pursuit of greater understanding and lesser harm. You see, I agree with the greater understanding, but not so much the lesser harm. Because, well, you're fucking harming a lot of shit all the time. You're citing a lot of things that should
abandoning things for something that I don't care about. I mean,
if it's something I truly care about, then yes, there are things I have abandoned. I have abandoned, whenever I felt my daughter kick from inside the womb for the first time, I dropped all the fucking drugs and shit I was doing at the time. I was a responsible adult for once in my life.
I meant music when they said abandon things. They're talking about music, and I love music more than almost anything in the world. I mean, back when I was with Joss, she never complained about music, but I don't know what would happen if she did. I'm not sure.
For me, it comes down to the way I approach metal coverage on Noisy because I am in that particular position of power. Oh, you're the oppressor now. Good job. Are you going to make that jump?
Yes.
Because power plus privilege, which you have both, because you've certainly got more money than me. Even 25 grand is double what I make.
Let's talk about privilege. You're in a higher position of media than we are, where at the bottom we can, we're basically shitting in the wind. Whereas you actually have many thousands of readers who should know better.
You got the privilege of having far more money than I do, and the power of having a fucking larger fan base than we got.
Yes.
So does that make you a racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, all that other shit?
Well, yes. Yes, it does.
So I don't publish or assign anything on artists whose work or actions go against my own principles.
Which, I mean...
Fine, you do what you want, but at the same time, you're claiming moral high ground doing this, and you have nothing to stand on.
If you don't wish to, then that's... I don't I mean, I don't talk about some bands if I think they suck.
There are a lot of metal bands in the world. Asking yourself, are these riffs really worth it? Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
It's a small step, but a crucial one.
Yes,
I've already answered it. I took that step.
I
It
took the step.
starts with us. It starts with you, and then she goes into her bands.
I took the step. I asked, is listening to this song, you know, does it contradict with my beliefs? And then I was like, yeah, well, I believe that people should do what they want. That's my belief. So
Should you not be doing the metalhead thing and seeking out those ideas you find abhorrent, confronting them, and performing an ounce of introspection to ask yourself, am I anything like this?
no, because she's part of the new metalhead generation.
Not realizing you are exactly like that, just attacking it from the other angle. You've just inverted the values and you're doing the same exact shit.
Someone wrote a really interesting piece about metal that's really, really, really long, but his argument was that metal had sort of changed in the late 2000s, early 2010s because of an influx of people who grew up in the 90s and who were sort of college educated, that therefore they have no time for listening to things that they disagree with.
Hmm.
So that's,
Meanwhile, I read articles like this, things I disagree with, because I want to confront those ideas that are divergent from my own.
yes.
Perform a bit of introspection, ask myself some of the questions, even the questions that you're saying. Are these riffs really worth it? And I answered it yes. And that is because I asked myself that many years ago,
And
whenever a couple of my friends who are neo Nazis were like, hey, listen to this shit. Yeah, it's fucking complete NS garbage, but it was good music.
let me just listen to something really quick. Yeah, that riff's worth it. Yep, that riff is completely worth being bound for glory. Yep,
Uh-huh.
but that I asked myself that with Screwdriver and with Burzum when I heard about, because I was like 12. When you're 12 and you hear about this stuff, it's like, wait, should I really be listening to because you're 12, and I was like, well, you know what, this is you can't tell what he's saying anyway, um, and it's really good music. I had the same thing with Screwdriver. I refused to listen to Nazi Screwdriver for a couple of years. I listened to the pre-Nazi Screwdriver, which some would say is the better Screwdriver. I'm not going to argue that point because I can't. Um, but then I got curious as to, okay, what does Nazi punk or Nazi rock sound like? And then I heard Voice of Britain. I was like, oh God, yes.
You see, when I was fucking around and listening to Bully Boys and fucking Bound for Glory and Aggravated Assault with my neo-Nazi friends, not only did I enjoy the music, but it let me inside their mindset. It actually enabled me to debate them on grounds that you never could.
Just listen to Sammy Jackson.
I mean, I could see exactly where they're coming from. You know, not the fucking, whole let's go fucking kill, because they're a different color or Jew or whatever. No, it was more these are the concerns we have in general, that like white genocide's a thing and this, and, they're kicking the working man in the balls. And it let me further dissect the way they thought so I could better debate them. And usually whenever you debate a neo-Nazi, they never cede points. They
No,
actually ceded a couple points to me, a couple very crucial ones that were core to Nazi belief. And hell, my existence made him question one of the big ones about fucking race traitors because of who my ex-wife is.
yes,
Or I should more or less accurately say what, because, oh wow, you're going with the dark meat now. Oh my god. And yet I still treated them the same as always. They're like, huh, fuck, maybe this race trader shit we were talking about is complete bullshit.
well, yeah, because they're
All an
told that,
individual choice instead of this huge fucking collective hive mind that we thought of.
yeah,
And that made them steer further away. And now they're not Nazis.
they're told that anyone who's a race trader will treat you like
Uh huh.
yeah.
Yeah. And it all stems from the fact that I was capable of getting inside their mind because I listened to their music, understood where they were coming from, their arguments. And it just so happened the music, yeah, it was fucking good. The riffs were generally worth it. So was being able to argue against Nazis a hell of a lot better by stepping inside their mind.
Yeah, if you
But you
listen
don't
to
want to argue with them. You just want to ban them from everywhere until they get in power. And you're sitting there crying to yourself, how did this happen? You made it happen.
yes, punching Nazis in the face will not
Punching Nazis in the face and putting them in prison. Well, fuck. They punched Hitler in the face and put him in prison for spouting Nazi rhetoric, and we fucking had the Third Reich.
They also banned him from public speaking, and that actually helped a lot as well. Because they want to silence this guy. Well, we're in a desperate economy. Why they want? Why do the ruling class? We have no confidence in which to silence him.
Exactly.
Oh, let's look at this. Wow, this is I'm actually sort of agreeing with what he's saying. Or if you're not even agreeing, just they're a little extreme, but if they promise to build Germany up, I'll deal with it.
Oh, wow, they're actually offering social programs and helping out the working class here. Well, I don't really care for all this kill the Jews shit and, no room for dark meat, but they are giving money to the fucking disenfranchised and poor. Who am I going to go with? The person giving me free shit or the people telling me to suck it up and eat shit?
If you watch the World at War, I mean, a lot of people thought that, the Nazis were stupid, too extreme, laughable, but, well, the sensible option didn't work. Let's try this.
Yeah.
That's...
Uh-huh.
Welcome to reality.
Yeah. Of course, you don't pay attention to history. You don't want to pay attention to the opposition. You just want to fucking live in your little prissy, richy rich fucking life bubble, ivory tower, just fucking everything.
It would be great to be ignorant, but unfortunately, I've lived too much.
Unfortunately, I'm from the fucking gutter.
Yes. No, the gutter looks at you and goes, "Damn."
Well, I'm not ghetto. I mean, I've been to the ghetto. It's like, this is even worse than me. Fuck.
Just imagine ghetto Jim. Oh, I needed that laugh.
Oh, here's another laugh. Raw sewage flows into Lake Erie. Prompt swimming advisory.
Don't swim in raw sewage. That is all.
From Cleveland, torrential rainfall caused an overflow of raw sewage and stormwater to flow into Lake Erie Tuesday. As a result, the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District is warning the public not to. I love how this is worded. Warning the public not to avoid swimming at Edgewater Beach. So, in other words, they're advising people don't avoid it, just swim in the sewage now.
Somebody didn't do a grammatical check of this. Where's this from?
This is from KDKA TV, Channel 2 in Pittsburgh.
Someone didn't grammatically check this at all. Wow, Jim, that's.
Thank you for letting us know that they want us to swim in raw sewage. It's great. I love swimming in raw sewage myself.
I'm looking at this right now. Yes, it actually says people not to avoid swimming. Somebody actually wrote that, and nobody went, hey, Ralph, no, you're dumb.
Just delete one word, either not to go swimming or
to avoid swimming.
Public to avoid swimming. Just eliminate not, one word.
Fuck it, we'll publish this anyway.
WOIO reports that raw sewage began overflowing at the beach just before midnight Monday night.
I think what happened is they not to go swimming, but then they realized that not to go swimming was sort of a simplest, they wanted to sort of sound a little bit more official that don't go swimming. So it's to avoid, but someone fucked up. But now it's not to don't avoid swimming.
Yes, please just jump in the raw sewage now. You'll get all the great immunities.
Oh God is mutating.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Crackheads. Our region has experienced many strong storms in recent years, an ongoing trend that we will see more of in the future. Frank Greenland, director of watershed programs with the near said told Warho. Yeah, I just sped through that. Shut up. It's a bunch of fucking abbreviations.
I know, but I have to make fun of you.
Yeah. Officials say swimmers, especially children, the elderly, and those with health conditions, should not avoid entering the water. I'm just going. Actually, it says it properly here, but I had to say not because
I was just
should not avoid entering the water.
Not to be pedantic. Yes.
Police violence, cliques, and secret tattoos. Fears rise over LA sheriff gangs.
Welcome to Los Angeles, folks.
John Sweeney knew from his 4 decades as a civil rights lawyer that something about the police shooting of Donta Taylor was off. Okay. Taylor, a 31-year-old African-American, had been walking from a friend's house in Compton to nearby grocery store one summer night when members of the county sheriff's department challenged him, gave chase, and ended up firing more than a dozen shots at him along a lonely concrete pathway alongside a canal.
Slightly extreme?
Yeah, just mildly. To Sweeney, who had cut his teeth as an associate of the legendary civil rights lawyer Johnny Cochran, the 2016 killing smacked of an execution. You think? I mean...
Yeah, that was a little bit of a...
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Good!
I mean, it's not like you shot once and he was gone. No, they shot dozens of times. Yeah. That's like, yeah. I mean, he had better be armed to the teeth for you to get away with it.
You better have missiles.
You can't just sprinkle some crack on him and say, look, it was a crackhead. Yeah, I mean...
He had to have missiles.
He had missiles?
No, I said he had to have had missiles for that, for dozens of bullets. He had to be like the mini nuke launcher from New Vegas.
Yeah, he had to have one of those for that to fly. Fuck. Yeah. There's no way.
I'm gonna nuke you, bitch.
I mean, 3 shots, maybe. That's pushing it in my sake. Dozens? No, that's like, okay, just start running. Let's get some human hunting in. That's what it sounds like to me.
Big humans.
The work of renegade police officers reveling in violence for the sake of it. It was no more than a hunch at first. See, we usually shit on people for writing shit like this, but I gotta agree, this smells too much like shit.
Yeah, that smells just a little...
I mean, you always gotta question what the fuck authority does, but, you know...
Well, and I agree.
Fun of people that take it too far, because, like, you know, well, they shot a criminal once and he's dead. And, like, they actually found the JSR on the guy's hands through independent testing from 6 different clinics that wanted to prove the guy innocent of all harm doing, but they accidentally proved him guilty.
Well, I mean, before I really knew about the BLM thing, I was sort of not on board with them because I thought their name was stupid, but I was like, well, yeah, there are a lot of people being shot. Maybe we should protest this. And then I realized what their tactics and what their actual aim was, but still.
You see, this would make sense if they did more of this instead of like, oh, let's go after the fucking, you know, guys who are actually guilty of the crimes. And, you know, it was 1 shot instead of like, you know, dozens. This is different ball game. This is what you should be really going after.
Yes.
The police claim that Taylor had been wearing gang colors.
So he's wearing gang colors. So you're just, I mean, really, that's not a good excuse, people.
No, it's not. I mean, it's a great excuse if you're in a gang to shoot someone. Not so much being a cop, because gang colors are like black, blue,
could have been
red. Common colors everyone wears, including working class that are nowhere near Compton.
And okay, he's in a gang, so you're going to just preemptively shoot someone in a gang, thus provoking outrage from the gang, thus provoking wars from the gang, and a higher body count.
Mm-hmm.
That
Good job.
that's great thinking, Gates.
Mm-hmm. Compton is the birthplace of the notorious Crips and Bloods. Yep.
Well, yeah. And
And
it is one of the few places that is actually terrifying to drive through.
and had pulled a semi-automatic handgun from his waistband, but no gun was ever found at or near the scene, and Taylor was not suspected of being involved in criminal activity when the officers approached.
He pulled a gun. Where's the gun? I stole it.
I mean, I've seen these things where BLM gets involved, and there was no gun involved, no bullshit. You know, no, there was a gun involved, and all this other shit. That's what I'm trying to say. This time there is no gun involved,
Yeah.
so there's no fucking excuse. There's not even GSR in the hands, I bet.
Yay.
I think this is a real reason, but I'm not hearing any banter about this, are you?
I didn't hear anything about.
Yeah, this should be something that they're championing, but they're not. So let's not go after the actual innocent that get gunned down at execution style.
And I agree with what BLM says because there's the one guy who they said was out slashing tires. First of all, there's debate about whether he was. Second of all, I mean, yeah, okay, I get if the owner of the car's mad enough to go chase after him, but slashing tires really isn't such a death penalty. More of a just take him into jail type thing.
Shoot him in the kneecap, give him this fucking 30 days.
No, you know what you do? You flatten all four tires of the police car. Okay, you're gonna change all my tires
Mm-hmm.
out in the open.
Yay, out in the open.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. They stopped him for no reason. No reason, Sweeney said in an interview with The Guardian. He'd gone out to buy a Sprite and a single cigarette.
How do you buy a single cigarette?
Probably off of someone offering single cigarettes on the street.
Yeah.
I heard about it in fucking New York. It's got to be out in fucking California where cigarette taxes are like, dear God, why are you doing this to me?
Yes, you could either buy a cigarette, Jim, or a second home. Which one?
Yeah, you gotta fucking lease a second home to get a
Yeah.
cigarette.
Okay. I'd like to buy a cigarette, but I need to eat for a week. So.
Mm-hmm. And it hit me something was going on, that they were doing this to become a member of something or to gain favor, because this is not policing. No, it's not.
No, it's a human hunt.
Mm. Sweeney later learned that the same two officers had delivered a savage beating to another young black man and copped it a few months earlier. See, it's not like one of these guys that doesn't have a fucking history.
Yeah.
The guys that definitely have a history. Why am I not hearing the banter on this?
Because it's Compton.
Sheldon Lockett had been standing with friends outside his grandmother's house in broad daylight when, according to eyewitnesses, the officers showered him with racial abuse, repeatedly used a taser on him, and shoved a nightstick into an eye socket, causing him permanent damage.
God. Oh, I've gotten little pokes in the eye before, and they hurt like fuck.
I've been fucking hit across the eyes, not in the eyes, the fucking baseball bat, and that fucking hurts like a bitch.
In the eye.
I could just imagine a club that solid going into the eye socket itself. That's gotta be fucked.
I don't want to imagine it, but I am. Fuck.
Again, the officers claim to have seen a gun. Again, no gun was ever found. See, they're banking off the trust on the fucking Protect the Blues here that was generated by, guess who? Black Lives Matter. See how the fucking opposition creates its own enemy? And now no one's talking about it because it's Compton.
Personally, I was so hoping the Blue Lives Matter would be a protest against atrocities committed against the Blue Man Group. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Because come on, that needs to be a thing.
Then came the moment of truth. At a deposition hearing in May, Sweeney asked one of the officers, Samuel Aldama, if he harbored racial animus towards African Americans, and Aldama spent close to 5 minutes struggling to give an answer.
Because, yeah, that just saying no.
First, he said he did have ill feelings, then changed the track and said he just misunderstood the question.
Wait, you have ill feelings against African Americans? Yes, I would like scrambled eggs and toast.
I like eating the unborn.
But it's just, how do you misunderstand that question?
Next, Sweeney asked Aldama if he had a tattoo. After some hesitation, Aldama showed an elaborate image on his calf of a frightening skeletal figure wielding a rifle. Between 10 and 20 deputies on the Compton station had the same tattoo, he acknowledged.
Interesting.
Sweeney hadn't known about the tattoo in advance, but he did know that the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department had a history of violent gang-like cliques that glorify violence for its own sake and pressure deputies to break the rules so they could prove their bona fides.
LAPD is known to be
earn their ink in the form of just such hidden tattoos.
LAPD is known to be one of the most violent and corrupt, if not the most corrupt, police forces in America.
Hey, we got one of the most corrupt voting systems here in PA. You gotta be the kings of corruption some other way.
Yeah, well, what even worse than Philadelphia?
That's great.
And yeah,
that's pretty damn fucking corrupt.
Although Philly police seem to be under the impression that, just from anecdotal evidence, that we'll let them destroy some of the city and sort of peter out, and then we'll deal with it. Or as LA, their thing is, there's two people fighting, tear gas and riot gear.
The revelation wasn't just a Perry Mason moment in court. It has jolted civic leaders in Los Angeles just a few years after an epic scandal in which sheriff's deputies, supported and protected by senior officers up to the sheriff himself, were found to have engaged in systematic beatings of prisoners, helped smuggle drugs and other contraband in and out of jail on behalf of white power gang leaders, and worked to conceal aspects of the scandal from the FBI.
You know, I'm actually inclined to believe that. Actually, to be honest, LA police are wow.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, we're talking LA here.
Yes. I've also heard rumors that police have deep connections with the mafia.
I mean, hell, LA's got a shit ton of money floating around in it, so there's got to be a shit ton of corruption to be had.
It's got money, and the people with money don't like the people with no money, and the people with no money are a lot more than people with money. It also has a small town mentality, because the thing you need to know about Los Angeles is it's a bunch of it's a bunch of little towns inside this big Los Angeles thing. So it's got a sort of small town mentality. Let's say you move to this other part of LA. And this branch of the LAPD will call this branch, what do you want me to do about them? Get rid of them. That sort of thing. So small town mentality with a huge police force, and you've got the haves versus the have-nots. And sort of the status quo versus the counterculture. And oh yeah, you've got fun.
No wonder they love socialism where you're at.
Well, I mean, most of the really rich people are like hardcore Republicans.
I see the other thing with everyone else, but hey, it all depends.
Mostly San Francisco. I mean, there's some. I mean, it's mostly the have-nots who are more into the left-wing thing. As far as the socialist thing, it's more San Francisco.
Lee Baca, the former sheriff, as well as his former number two and close to a dozen former sheriff's deputies, have been prosecuted and convicted of an array of offenses from abuse of police power to obstruction of justice.
Welcome.
Oh, God. See, and no one's really protesting this except for one article here. It's not being brought up. Why?
If you live in LA, you'll hear a little bit more about this, but yeah, it's not really a national.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much you got the links, and I'm not seeing someone grasping at straws trying to tie together some grand wild conspiracy theory along the lines of ancient aliens. This is like direct line, bang, bang, boom. Here's the evidence. Go.
Yes, ancient aliens are creation of Black Lives Matter, or created Black Lives Matter.
Jim McDonnell, the current boss of what is America's largest county police department, has ordered an internal investigation on what he called renegade cliques and insisted, despite an official finding by the district attorney's office last year in favor of Aldama and his partner, Marizian Orrego, that the Compton incidents are still being investigated.
Well, that's good that he's actually at least still doing it, because so many of those people, no, they're innocent.
Uh-huh.
But no, they're innocent.
That has done little to satisfy McDonnell's internal critics, who complain he has been a reformer in name only and threatens to cast a harsh spotlight on everything from controversial shootings to staff and equipment shortages, as McDonnell faces an unexpectedly tough re-election battle against a 30-year department veteran in November.
That's also, yeah, well, let's put it this way. Reforming one of America's most corrupt police departments, it'd be easy to just set the entire fucking thing ablaze.
Uh-huh.
Or it'd be easy to just move out. Yeah, reform the pyramids and reforming the LAPD.
There's also incensed civil rights leaders 6 years after a county report co-authored by McDonnell, then police chief in the port city of Long Beach, which described how deputies belonged to secret cliques would dare each other to beat or kill jail inmates and let them add details to their tattoos every time they did.
Oh yeah, I mean that's once you get in a position of power, you'll have these. This is not a great conspiracy. This is if you don't believe, you guys can research this. Google on go onto an internet and Google. This all checks out.
Yeah. Deputies would sometimes get into fights with rival clique members, including notorious dust-up at a department Christmas party in 2010 that led to 6 deputy firings, or beat up honest deputies who refused to accept the dare.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that sounds like a good gang you got going there. How much money is flowing in there? Who's getting their pockets?
Just too bad the gang is a bunch of man children.
The concern is that this behavior is now making a resurgence, in part because some rank and file deputies have developed an us versus them mentality following the rise of Black Lives Matter. Like I said, creating their own enemy. You're backing all these fucking criminals, and now you got innocent people dying, and you're not saying a peep.
Well, it's not even about the criminals. It's also just look how much shit the police are taking. Of course, they're going to develop an us versus them mentality. Look at how, the police are vilified every single day. So of course they're going to develop. I mean, for the people that they shot could be completely 100% innocent, and it still wouldn't change the fact that every single day it's always the cops' fault. Always, all
I
cops.
mean, they could be 100% guilty or 100% innocent. Doesn't matter. It's the fact that these groups keep demonizing them instead of saying, well, there's some bad ones like these bastards here. And then there's some decent ones. No, they all got to be evil.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I had that mentality, but that's when I was 12 years old. The only good cop is a dead one.
Yeah. And then you smoke pot with a cop, and it's like, you know, you're not all bad.
Or until you get like beaten up and a cop actually tracks the guy down who did it or whatever. Or, basically either you're in some sort of situation and the cop actually helps you for once.
Or the cop just slaps you on the wrist when you know you've gone fucked up.
Yes.
I know a lot of black people like, I didn't have any respect for cops until he just took my bowl and left. I was like, fuck, that I could actually respect that, man.
Yeah. I mean,
I understand, I could have gone to jail for some serious time for that fucking £quarter in my pocket, but
I
fucker
mean,
didn't even check my pocket. He just took my bowl and left.
I knew a guy who got like viciously beaten to the point where he had to have stitches, and the cops actually caught the guy who did it, and he was like, "Wow, you guys actually give a shit about your people." And I mean, he still was, you know, he still was treating at arm's length as you do if you're a right thinking person. You still have to question authority. That's my problem with the South. They have too much respect for authority.
Yeah, you always got to question it, but at the same time, you have to also realize that sometimes you find out the authority was in their rights to do so. Other times you find out they're corrupt bastards. Like
Yes,
99% of the government, with the only 1% that ain't corrupt bastards, just haven't been in office long enough.
and like 0.001% are actually in there to do some good. Unfortunately, they never get noticed because
And they never get reelected because they ain't getting enough money to get
yeah,
reelected.
exactly. So
Uh, and other civil rights groups angry about police shootings of civilians, and in part because the department brass has not been cleaned up by the way McDonald promised when he took office.
well, yeah, he is sort of being slow, but at the same time, it's bureaucracy in Los Angeles is unreal. Let's put it that way.
Bureaucracy anywhere is unreal anymore, but
Well,
uh, this goes a whole lot higher up in the Compton station, Sweeney charged. The captain claims he didn't know. These officers change from their civilian clothes into their uniforms in the locker room every day, and you're going to tell me up to 20 people that have that tattoo and it ain't going to raise any questions? Of course they knew about it.
oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's
A union representative at a different sheriff's station who spoke frankly on condition that he not be identified told the Guardian that not all tattoos were equal. Some deputies got them as a mark of genuine pride, an indication that they were willing to do their job and go after violent criminals regardless of the risks. For others, though, the tattoos were more secret and more sinister. And
sort
you
of
can
like
usually
the
tell the difference between the two because you got the ones showing it off, in a place where you could see it, and then the ones who are keeping it underneath their fucking clothes.
well, even the ones who do it in pride don't usually show it off because it would be sort of weird for a cop to just start showing off a tattoo or whatever. So even they're sort of trying to hide it a little bit. So you really can't tell the difference because, well, you have a tattoo. You could either be proud of trying to fight the criminals, or you could be a criminal yourself. So there's really no. I mean, there, you know,
Why does it have to be a skull holding a rifle? How does that stand for hard work?
Skeletor.
Well, honestly, a skull holding a rifle sounds pretty damn kick ass, so it could.
Yeah.
But then again, it could also be a gang tattoo. You don't know this shit, and right now it sounds a lot more like a gang tattoo, but
It
you
still
know,
sounds cool though.
I see people with skulls holding a rifle, who aren't part of cop station, who are actually part of the shadier element selling pot.
And then there's people who do it because they're posers and tattoos are cool. So let's
Uh,
be cool.
uh, what it indicates is more of a thug mentality, doing things that are wink wink, not exactly above board. It starts to change the way deputies treat each other. At the East LA station, friends have told me about 3 different tattoos. Some of the 3 groups fight each other. That's totally unacceptable. Not at all how cops should be behaving.
No, it
Since
really,
they would
yeah.
be in competition with each other, who's the biggest bastard. Especially we got different gangs lining your pockets, you know.
That is sort of fucked up, though. Well, I'm sort of bleeding to death here, and I'd like to get some help, but there's 2 deputies punching each other in the face. Shit.
A decade ago, the department was enthralled to a shadow leadership structure in which deputies were encouraged to work in the gray.
Welcome to LA.
I remember that. Many maintained a code of silence about abuses, both to protect each other and to earn promotions. Dirty cops who kept to the code were said to be in the car with the undersheriff, Paul Tanaka, a one-time member of the notorious clique, the Linwood Vikings.
That sounds like a Nazi fucking group, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That just sounds shady.
Totally NS, yeah.
Yes.
In his youth, Tanaka had been one of 5 Viking officers held responsible for the killing of an unarmed Korean immigrant who ran a stop sign in Linwood in 1988.
He ran a stop sign. Kill them.
3 years later, a federal judge described the Vikings as a neo-Nazi white supremacist gang. Good luck getting that taken seriously these days, with everyone being called a white supremacist.
Yeah, but that was in '88, so that, you know.
Yeah, it was actually meant something now then, and
Well,
now it's like fucking bullshit.
It's saying
You've devalued it. This is what you're doing by calling everyone a racist. This is actual racial shit right here, and it's going to be discounted and thrown under the rug because everyone's a Nazi now.
Nazi and fascism have become the left's communist. You know, because everyone who's remotely left in in the right circles is I'm a communist apparently, which is why communists call me a social fascist. You know, so yes, Nazi is definitely the left snarl word as akin to the right snarl word of communist. It's great that people misuse terms, isn't it? And then create.
Who routinely flouted the Constitution. That automatically earns my ire there. All that shit. But no, we're just going to call everyone a racist, so we can't even point out the real fucking crazy shit going on. And we're going to blame all cops instead of looking for the actual corrupt ones like the ones here. No.
Like an actual Nazi organization.
Inside the police station, no one's going to fucking take it seriously these days. And when it actually is a real problem. Thank you, Black Lives Matter, for doing this to us.
Yep.
This is why we, the fucking scum of the internet, are sitting here saying this is fucked up, something should be done, and you're not.
Yep, because you're too busy protesting at colleges.
The department ended up paying nearly $10 million in settlements because of the Vikings' actions, and Tanaka's career appeared doomed until Baca took office and put him on the fast track to the top.
Welcome to politics. You know, I mean, people who have done horrible things rather than being locked up in a padded cell. George W. Bush's fucking cabinet was full of criminals. Basically, people who, not necessarily Watergate, but Coachgate criminals and people like that who should have been locked up in a padded cell, but they were allowed to guide King George II. Yeah, so welcome to politics.
As under Sheriff, Tanaka had an executive email list of trusted underlings, a list that many in the department hoped McDonnell would use for guidance in purging the ranks. Instead, insiders say McDonnell has kept many of Tanaka's former acolytes and in several instances promoted them.
This is what happens when you have reform candidates who are too thin-skinned and do anything. He's probably afraid he'll at least lose his job if he is, if he actually does something radical, that people will marshal against him. This is the problem with people who are reform people, but are very afraid. He's afraid, basically, that if he does something too radical, he's basically a Democrat in the way that Democrats talk about how they want everything to be this and then do the complete opposite because, well, I don't want to be too radical. So he's basically like that. He doesn't want to be too radical, but as long as it looks like I'm doing something.
Tanaka himself is serving a 5-year sentence for conspiracy and obstruction.
Oh,
it sounds like he might need a little more than that, but hey, I'm not the legal system.
Like 20,000 years, just or no, I've always thought like whenever somebody serves like 6 consecutive lifetimes, that what they should do is they should wait for like a child to be born and say, okay, you're going to prison there. We will leave your body in prison until its great grandchildren child dies.
Yeah.
We'll bury it.
All that is likely to come under renewed scrutiny as November election approaches. The dark horse candidate challenging McDonnell, the retired police lieutenant Alex Vallenevo, has based his entire campaign on the need to reform what he calls a corrupt political patronage system, shredding morale.
Well, let's see if he actually does anything.
Good luck. We're talking politics here, the most corrupt structure in humanity.
We're talking the police force, which is also corrupt.
Oh, that particular one especially.
Yeah.
Fuck. comes McDonnell, and not only did he leave the entire system intact, he left the key players intact in the same positions and promoted them. He surrounded himself with people giving him bad advice. It's the fox guarding the hen house.
Yeah.
The union rep broadly concurred. Union rep is giving a nod to saying, fuck these bastards.
I'm going to reform. No, I'm not.
The rank and file absolutely loathe McDonnell. I don't know if it's a compulsion or a delusion, but he's focused almost entirely on the cosmetic. He has done almost nothing towards serious reform, and the radio frequency goes down about once a week. But we're spending $1 million to replace the silver buttons on our belts with brass ones.
Nice.
What has that got to do with anything?
Well, exactly.
McDonnell himself has sought to play down the significance of the Compton shootings, saying the revelations in Aldama's deposition do not in any way reflect the sheriff's department of today. The captain at the Compton station told the Los Angeles Times that Aldama was confined to desk duty while Orrego had been fired for an unrelated offense.
So good job. He's a mealy-mouthed, I'll say the right thing until I get into office. And his name is Jim. Be proud of this.
John Sweeney, however, has continued to apply the pressure. Good. In the next few days, he will put up billboards around Compton asking for anyone who believes he or she has been victimized by Aldama or Orrego to come forward. We suspect there are a lot of victims of this gang. This may be the tip of the iceberg. Well, yeah.
This is the problem with the general public and politicians. Obama actually could have been a good president. Don't laugh. He could have been a good president if the general public had metaphorically shoved a blowtorch up his ass. Okay. And basically tied him up and put him on the racks, put him right next to the guillotine, saying, if you don't do this, you're going to get the chop, basically. He could have actually done some good. The problem was, once he got elected under the hope and change motto, well, he got elected, so we're just going to leave it into his best. He knows what he's doing. We're going to just post about it on Facebook or or change.org or moveon.com or something. You know, we're not going
Uh-huh.
to actually we're not going to actually try. So
Well,
that,
the whole thing was it was also the greatest thing ever for people that were in corrupt politics because you can't criticize the president because you'll be a racist.
well, yeah, but like I said, it's just it's if you know so we're gonna trust a politician. When is the okay? I got yelled at in the campaign for saying that I thought I was afraid that Bernie Sanders, if he ever got elected, which he wouldn't ever, would have just sold out his beliefs and become another politician. Now, in the past, people will, yeah, I agree, and we'll try to make sure that doesn't happen because there's always a deep mistrust of even the politicians you like. Nowadays, it's like, don't speak ill of him.
Uh-huh.
Like, wait, when did we get to this era of actually trusting and
Trusting
worshiping
politicians. That's like
politicians?
the most suicidal thing. Left, right, don't care. Trusting a politician is the worst thing you could ever do with your life.
The general public needs to be the politician's greatest enemy.
Yes.
It needs to be, you know, I can't sleep at night because, oh my god, what if the public lynches me? This is the same thing that happened with the with this McDonald guy. He gets in, I'm going to reform everything, and everyone goes, okay, we trust you, and he doesn't
Yeah.
do anything because he's mealy mouthed and he's afraid that he'll be lynched by the other cops, or that he don't have the spine to basically stand up and say, fuck you, this is what needs to be done. This is you you need the blowtorch.
Uh-huh. God, and people aren't going to do it because, yeah, we're a city of laws. Well, yeah, we're a society that's supposed to be rule of law, but at the same time, you have to always question, always push. And, I understand there's a huge group of people that are pushing in all the wrong directions. Actually, a couple groups of people doing that. And they got the megaphone now going wild on all sides. It's like, fuck these people. And you notice that, oh, I'll trust these guys, but not those guys. Oh, yeah, well, I trust these guys, but not your guys.
Yeah,
And you should just not trust a single damn one of them. They're a politician. They're there to make money.
they're out for themselves.
I mean, do you trust the Iowa man threatens to kidnap and eat children? Do you trust this Iowa man that threatened to kidnap and eat children?
Well, yes, I trust him.
Yes, but we're sick and psychotic. The public probably shouldn't. But, if you don't trust him, then why the fuck do you trust politicians? Mhm.
Yep. I mean, politics is a game of compromises.
A man in Storm Lake, Iowa, was arrested after threatening to kidnap and eat several children in the apartment complex he lives in, officials said. July
I hope
17th,
he was
2018.
I hope he was all out Red Dwarf singing, "I'm gonna eat you, little kitty."
the the suspect, King Kong Cool, was allegedly chasing several children around the complex, according to witnesses. After police arrived, he was taken into custody and was booked in the Buena Vista County Jail on a $2,000 bond.
This is interesting.
Yes, there's no further information. I just felt like sharing that because this is the perfect segue from politicians, because that's pretty much what politicians do. They kidnap and eat your kids. I know they kidnapped mine. Mm. Mm. And just because you had a falling out with some people, because didn't you say immortality is a fool's game? They all thought you were suicidal.
Oh yes, yes. Um, Someone's asked, would you rather be ugly and live forever, or attractive and die in a year? And I said, can I be ugly and die in a year? And I said, but also, immortality is horrible because A, you get to watch all your friends, people, everyone you love age and die. B, you get to watch humanity make the same mistakes over and over again. I mean, the only thing that would be good is if every 200 years the memory got wiped, and then there's no reason for immortality anyway.
Well, how about the world's oldest person celebrates her 129th birthday, but still wishes she was dead? 129 years on this planet, and you're praying for death. I can see that because you would have seen humanity repeat so many mistakes. So many people you loved and cherished would be gone. Everything you ever valued in life turned to dust. The times change so drastically that there is nothing recognizable. Why am I still alive?
Just imagine for a second. You were born in 1889. The automobile is sort of in its infancy, but when you're growing up, you probably don't have a car. You probably heard of it. The plane is in its infancy. The plane wasn't invented until 1903 or whatever. So you get to see all this. You look in 2018. Good God.
Uh-huh. Now imagine with all those technological advances and how much quicker it's advancing, how much more insane it's going to be in 100 years.
Yep.
If I make it to 142, dear God, I can't even fathom the tech. I mean, sure, we might have those flying cars, we might have teleportation, all this other crazy fantasy shit, and we also might be praying to our robot overlords.
I doubt we'll ever have flying cars, just because. Would you honestly trust the general public in flight?
Who says they'd be the ones in control?
Yeah, true.
Especially if we have AI overlords going over us. I don't know what the fucking future holds. Aliens could land. The second coming of Christ could actually beat all odds and actually happen. I don't know.
If the aliens land
That's
on the
100
throne with,
years. The aliens came down and admitted to being Jesus Christ.
we
And then
are.
they transplant my brain into a giant fucking robot and give it laser beam eyes.
Yeah, Jim. I'm sorry to say, I've talked to the aliens, and they're going to transplant your brain into an anteater.
Koku has lived through several wars and incredibly difficult times and sees her longevity as punishment. To live long enough to see the fact you're still alive as punishment. But no, immortality is a fool's errand, is
In
something that makes you suicidal.
1889, women couldn't vote. Powered flight was made fun of in the New York Times. I shit you not. Gasoline engines were just coming into their own. I mean, and just think about how different. Think about how different it is from the time you were a kid. I mean, it was
Times when I was a kid, both parents had to go to work, and drinking out in public was no problem as long as it's just on your front porch or in your neighbor's yard or whatever, and fucking you could smoke in the mall. Now you can't do any of that fun shit.
I was talking to one of my friends' grandparents who lived in the 30s and shit, and he was telling me, he said, I can remember if you had a foreign car, you were rich. If you had even a humdrum foreign car, you had some money. Because everyone had American cars. Because obviously, globalization wasn't as immense as it got. Nowadays, the cheapest cars are Japanese.
Uh-huh.
I mean, think about Wilbur Wright, who was he helped invent the airplane. He died in the later half of the 40s after they had broken the sound barrier. So just think, go from aircraft that look like kites and that go about 5 miles an hour to, by the way, we can travel beyond the speed of sound.
Imagine, if you would, you're trying to talk to someone across the country from PA to California as we are now. You have to go to an office in order to get someone to do the fucking Morse code to send it across the cable or send it via snail mail where it has to go either by train or before that by horse cart to reach there.
or by boat.
I'm talking to him right now in front of a fucking TV screen, which would have been completely unfathomable by anyone there.
And later on, the telephone, where long distance communication was quite crude. I mean, it worked, but
it was quite crude for a while, and then whenever they start, God, I remember long distance charges.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm not even talking calling across the country. No.
No.
If I could call my grandmother, but to call the very next city beside her, I call my grandmother. It was okay in West Newton, but next city over, Smithton, it was like $1.35 per minute.
Yeah, exactly. And even nowadays, or even before, you couldn't also record it. I mean, you could if you have the technology, but I have spent very little money and can do all this. I'm amazed about everything I could actually do in this day and age. The only way we could do this before was if both of us had sort of, I guess, to get this quality, satellite link ups was the thing before, and you couldn't afford a satellite link up. I couldn't afford a satellite link up.
Nah, I mean the fucking means of production are free. I'm on fucking YouTube. I'm not even paying for this goddamn internet connection.
It is amazing. I mean, I marvel at it. I mean, I marvel because people take it for granted. I like to think about how things were and how it was such a revelation when man first took to the skies with wings. And nowadays, yeah, I'm flying out on a jet plane at 400, 500 miles an hour. I'm going to take it for granted. It's like
just to think of how it used to be whenever fucking going coast to coast with like major fucking shipments. You would have to have fresh horses at various stops to keep going, and you would have to have people sleep and all this shit. And now we can just go across country in like 2-3 days.
Or
on a fucking truck, or take a
really,
fucking jet and be there in 6 hours.
If you're exceedingly lucky, trains or steamships. But even before that, it was sailing ships or horses. But even in the 50s, airlines were really expensive. Incredibly expensive. They were big and slow. I mean, they were fast compared to. So you had to go in cars, and the nation's highways and freeways aren't remotely what they are now. So it took days to go from, let's say California to Nevada, or it's amazing.
I mean, fuck, you had nothing but dirt roads, and dirt roads kept shifting. Now we got fucking paved roads.
Yep, it's amazing how things kept changing.
So you go through all these fucking wild ass changes technologically, socially. Fucking, homosexuality was a disease. Oh, wait, being gay is fine. Oh, wait, being gay is celebrated. Oh, wait, gays are being shoved down my throat at every fucking juncture.
Gays are being shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
Sorry. 2 world wars.
Plus a few other world wars that could be considered world wars, but really weren't because whatever, their police actions. A Russian woman purported to be the world's oldest person has celebrated her 129th birthday, but she wishes she had died young. Koku says she has never lived a happy day in her life, and she has no idea how she lived so long that she has outlasted her children. Her children have died before her. How fucking horrible would that be? You want them to outlast them. They died before her.
And it's not like they died at 24 from a disease or something. They probably died of old age.
Yeah, they probably died of old age. I mean, so you got to see their health deteriorate slowly over the years. You're like, why the fuck am I still alive while they're falling? What the hell?
Yeah. let's say she had her kids when she was 20, they will be 109.
I call bullshit on this sentence here. Other centenarians have credited a healthy diet or a lifetime of exercise for their longevity. No, we read about a guy that fucking credited the fact he held petty little grudges. We read about people that have fucking said, I smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day and drink a fucking
I
gallon of whiskey every day.
someone crediting
That's
that.
not your healthy diet and lifetime of exercise. That's the exact opposite. I
I've
call
also
bullshit
credited
on
people
that sentence.
said they stayed away from relationships for the last 100 years, and that's why they're old.
Well, yeah, I've heard that too.
I've heard everything. I mean, I've heard everything from I live like a saint to I killed 5 people. I'm 120.
But Koku says it was God's will in her case, and she considers it punishment instead of a gift.
Wow.
Russian officials believe Koku is 129 years old, which would make her the oldest person in the world. And that face just screams, please kill me. Where's the bullet in my fucking... Her family's all smiling around her, and her face is like, just do it now. I don't care how. I don't care how painful. Draw and quarter me for all I care. Just kill me.
I wonder what generation that is. You know what I mean? Of the family.
Yeah. Koku with relatives at her home in the Russian village of Bratskoye. Bratskoye. Yeah, there. I fucking have to remember the Russian I took years ago to always.
Suffer, you fool.
Yeah, fuck, my brain's rotted. Koku from the village of Bratskoye in the southwestern Russian Czech Republic celebrated her birthday at the start of this month with her 6 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. Wow. I wonder how many of her grandchildren died of old age. That would be fucked up if one of her grandkids even died of old age. It's like, God, kill me now.
It'd be funny if all of a sudden she's like, you know what? I want to live to kill the gym.
She said, I see other people eating healthy and doing fitness routines. I have no idea why I've lived so long. She added, it's God's will. I did nothing to make it happen. That face just looks like praying for fucking death. Koku has told journalists she wishes she had died young. She's praying for that death. Please, sweet embrace, take me. God, I don't care if I go to hell. Take me now. I have not had a single happy day in my life. Think of all the crazy shit that has happened in Russian politics over the past 129 years.
Yes, you go from the czars,
Russia, which fucking went after the Jews to no end because they're Christ killers, to the fucking communist regime. Oh God, the fucking. I mean,
after the communist regime, where Boris Yeltsin decided, the best way to stimulate Russia is pretty much political anarchy, and that ended about as well as you'd expect.
Mm-hmm. And now we got this dipshit over there now. Fuck.
Oh, come on, he's great.
He's great. He's great for internet memes. I'll give him that much.
He's good, but yeah, I would not want to. He's.
I would not want to live under him a single day in my life.
Dr. Doom.
So you've gone through, and that's just politically. That's what we could see from the national standard. Just bullshit, then worse bullshit.
What about her life?
And kind of still bullshit, but not as bad as the previous bullshit. Then the same old bullshit that was before, and it's like, dear God, it's completely repeated.
No idea what she's been through.
I am tired. Long life is not at all God's gift for me, but a punishment. I have not had a single happy day in my life. I've always worked hard digging in the garden. Damn. God. She would have also been 55 when World War II ended and 102 when the Soviet Union collapsed.
I mean, you think the sex would at least be pleasurable? Yeah, 55 when World War II ended, and you think, I have another 30 years to live. Oh, God!
Yeah. According to the Russian government, Koku's passport states her date of birth as 1st of June, 1889.
Damn.
Here's a picture of her saying that she outlasted all her children, and you see her in deep prayer. And that's still the face saying, please. This is a more graceful, God, just put me to rest peacefully now. I just want to sleep forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want immortality that bad. Go for it.
It's funny because the post was all about, well, I'd rather be, I don't want to be ugly. It's like, wait, but because the thing is, if you're ugly, you won't be able to pull any pussy, which would make
That's completely lame. I'm ugly as fuck. I've always been fucking melting face. Ugly shit. I did that episode we did the other day, that little special we did about what's wrong with kids today. People can see how fucking ugly I've been throughout the years.
which yes,
And I still got laid. I still get laid now, even though I'm 100 times uglier than I was as a kid.
yes. So that was the thing.
So you know what? Who gives a fuck how ugly you are? You can get laid.
Yeah, and
We're
so
so fucking pitiful.
people don't introspection bad.
Koku lost all her children except one daughter during the Chechen Wars, and her remaining daughter died in 2013.
At the age of 75 billion.
Some years ago, Koku lost her eyesight. Now depends on her descendants to take care of her, as there are some things she cannot do on her own. Her
Like
yeah, her granddaughter, Asma, attributes her longevity to a healthy plant-based nutrition uh, and hard manual labor.
you will work hard. Well, it's probably one of those villages where you have to basically get your own food.
Yeah, she said Grandma hasn't been eating meat for a very long time. Even chicken, you're trying to push a fucking agenda. Even Grandma doesn't know why she's alive. You're trying to explain it and saying, look, she did it all by accident. No, it's God's punishment for her. I agree. That would be punishment for me.
Not eating meat for a while or living to be 129.
Both. Koku recalls Nazi German tanks passing her home during the war and how her family were deported along with the many other Chechens, being accused of Nazi collaboration by Stalin. You're lucky you escaped that with your life. Well, okay, maybe not now that you lived this
And
long,
you were
but
middle aged.
uh-huh.
That's the thing. It's not like
Because he was all more than happy to fucking imprison and execute you if you were
but
captured by
yeah,
Nazis.
but here's the thing though. It's not like yes, I remember that. I was a young lad. I was like 5 years old, and no, she was in her 50s.
Yeah. Here she is praying with her rosary beads. She said, I survived through the Russian Civil War after the Bolshevik Revolution, the Second World War, the deportation of our nation in 1944, and through 2 Chechen wars. I remember tanks with Germans passing our house. It was scary, but I tried not to show this. We were hiding in the house. Life in Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, yeah. I'm dumb.
Yes.
Was the hardest for us. While in exile, we lived in Siberia too, but Kazakhstan, we felt how the Kazakhs hated us.
Wow.
Every day I dreamed of going back home. Working in my garden helped me to get rid of my sad thoughts, but my soul always wanted home. She said, looking back at my unhappy life, I wish I had died when I was young. I worked all my life. I did not have time for rest or entertainment. I can believe that. I've seen that many a times.
I am.
It's what it's like to be, poor. And it's something these
Especially
rich
in a Russian
bastards,
village.
rich bastards, their 25K a year fucking incomes fucking will never get. Mm. Russians, Russian,
Especially in a Russian village where you
yeah,
have to grow your own food and
uh-huh.
yeah.
Russian officials say all Koku's birth documents were lost during the Second Chechen War from 1999 to 2009, and therefore it is impossible to verify her information. The state pension fund in Russia claims there are 37 people over 110 years of age in Russia, although most also lack birth certificates and childhood records.
Interesting.
Most of these people, like Koku, live in Caucasus or Caucasia, a region located at the border of Europe and Asia, which is known for the longevity of its people. The oldest documented woman in the world is 119-year-old Japanese woman Chiyo Mieko, born on 2nd May 1901, whereby the oldest documented lifespan of a human is 122 years and 164 days. It was a French woman, Jean Calment.
Interesting.
I wonder how many of them pray for death.
Well, we could ask them, but most of them are dead.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're going to call for tonight.
Yes, that was a very interesting story, actually.
That was a good thing to go out on, I think.
Well, that was fun. This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 158. Yeah, I know there's people praying for the death of the show. August the 18th, 2018. You can contact us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers, Twitter Swine Bros 666. For the gym, I am your ablest blind man host, Elliot Lindenwood. We'll see you later.
Born free, this is your land, Darth Vader.